I say a tomato like this. Look at those tomatoes, boy, oh boy. Comes back a lot of memories, boy, oh boy. Those tomatoes. Yeah, the tomato, whenever I eat a good, really good tomato, ripe, it's ripe, I remember one thing. At least you got to listen to this story because you only can repeat it once. I don't like to talk about it.
My father, Jack, was a Holocaust survivor from Poland. His town, Wieleń, was the first town to be bombed by the Nazis. It marked the beginning of World War II. Bombs fell at 5 a.m., hours before war had been declared. Very quickly, Jewish lives were disrupted. They had to wear the Star of David on their clothing. They had to live in restricted areas and were forced into labor. They weren't even allowed to walk on the sidewalk. There were roundups where Jews were taken from their homes and sent to their deaths. In April 1942, my father's youngest brother, sister, and mother were captured by the Nazis and killed in one of those roundups. In August, the rest of the Jews in Wieleń were rounded up for the final liquidation of the town. My father, his father, and brothers managed to escape to a Polish city called Czestochowa. It was occupied by Germany, but still under Polish authority. So after you escaped from Wieleń, you were living in a Jewish ghetto in Czestochowa, right?
Correct. For a few weeks.
You lived there for
A few weeks, I would say between 3 and 5 weeks.
So why did you go into hiding?
Hiding, we came in the day, came in special police. So when they
Rumors, you saw that they
we started rumors that they're here, they came in. Because they came in, that they have occupied certain buildings, so we know it's trouble.
In fact, at that very moment, deportations began and 40,000 Jews in Czestochowa were rounded up and forced into cattle cars. They were taken to the death camp Treblinka and murdered. An estimated 2,000 more Jews were killed on the spot. The 5,200 who survived were forced into a small ghetto, leaving the larger ghetto abandoned. Jack, his brothers, and father hid in the abandoned ghetto.
We looked around for a place where to hide. Me and my father, Henry and Morris, we got in the attic and we pulled over a closet. And we closed up the entrance from the outside. Some other people saw where we went to the attic and they went after us. We got in 14 people. 14 people. Isolated from the world, completely. No radio, no television, no nothing.
The Nazis combed the ghetto for people who were hiding. Whoever they found was shot.
What we did, we left the closets open so there should not be too much problems to open the drawers. And we heard them as soon as they came up on the steps. Everybody had to be very quiet. I remember we had a 3-year-old child, actually it was 2 children, 3 years old. And my father put his hand on the mouth of the child. The child should not make a scream. This kid was so trained already, they knew already. As soon as we heard walking something, he put himself his hand on his mouth, not to make any noises, any screams, because a little scream, a little noise, all would be taken out and sent away or killed. The living in it was indescribable. How 14 people can live, a limited amount of food, squeezed together, very little air even, was very terrible, very bad.
While we was trying to live down there in this hole, they call it, the attic, we couldn't get food enough. But the Jews was baking like small, like called vervallig. And this was the dry food. You know, you could eat without cooking, nothing. But later on, we saw it's trouble. We're running out of those vervallig. But we found a lot of kasha, a lot of all kind of. We got to cook something. But cook was dangerous to cook because smoke. In the night, we pushed away the closet. Me and Henry mostly went down and looked around for food. And the end from our house was a garden. In the garden was everything that at that time was the tomatoes very ripe. And we only thing what we found ripe is tomatoes. When we brought up the tomatoes, this was a picnic. This was the best taste I ever ate tomatoes. Now, whenever I eat tomatoes, I remember about those times. This is the story of the tomato.